Armando, thanks for taking some time to chat with us here today. Got to start by talking about Tua Tagovailoa. He seems like he's taken the league by storm. 3-0 as a starter, 5 touchdowns, no interceptions. Has he looked as advertised to you?
Well, he definitely has done what the Dolphins have asked him, Phil. He's definitely avoided, the big turnovers, the big mistakes. That's half the battle right there. If you are playing quarterback in the NFL and you're not hurting your team, that's helping your team. On top of that, knowing that he is a rookie and 5 touchdowns without an interception, his first 3 games, he's got a quarterback rating over 100. I think it's 104. Actually, it's 104.8 to be exact. That is definitely a great start for any quarterback, and definitely the Dolphins think for their quarterback.
These are 2 teams heading in opposite directions here. The Dolphins have won 5 consecutive games. The Broncos have lost 3 out of 4. Were you surprised that during this stretch, though, for the Dolphins, they made the quarterback change?
Well, it's interesting because you mentioned the 5 games in a row they've won. They had won 2 games in a row with Ryan Fitzpatrick as their quarterback, and then they announced the change to Tua Tagovailoa. And the timing of it was curious because previous to that, Fitzpatrick had struggled and the Dolphins had stuck with him. So it was almost like it was upside down. You're sticking with him when he's struggling, but you're, benching him when he's going good. I think ultimately the Dolphins recognize, look, it's time to start the clock on the future, and whichever way that goes, we're going to be fine with it. Fortunately for them, it's gone this direction.
It certainly has. What's the feeling around Miami right now? Because sitting at 6-3, right in the thick of things there in the AFC East.
Right. So if you ask me the feeling around the Dolphins, you're going to get it's a day-to-day thing, and we're not thinking about the future past the next minute, and there's nothing to see here. In the real world, with their fans in the community, suddenly, there's a little bit of football fever again. South Florida is a football area. For years and years and years, it's been that way. And now that the Dolphins are suggesting that they're going to be a playoff contender, certainly even a division contender, they're starting to catch fire. They're starting to get attention nationally. It's good times for Dolphins fans.
How has Brian Flores been able to change everything so quickly down there?
Yeah, it's happened quickly, and yet it was painful because last year they did an almost complete teardown, and they were 0-7 at one point. The first game that Brian Flores coached, if I'm not mistaken, he lost 56-10. So, and then the next week it was 49-0. So, improvement. Yeah.
Most definitely.
Yeah. So it was painful last year. They got rid of all of their veterans, or a large majority of them. They cleared out their salary cap. They won 5 of their final 9 games, and it suggested that they were headed in the right direction. But this offseason, they were very aggressive. They spent over $250 million on new free agents, $150 million of that guaranteed money. They had 11 draft picks, including 3 in the first round. And so when you have that much resources and that much in the draft and that much money to spend in free agency, you almost have to work at it to blow it. They didn't. Apparently, they fixed the offensive line a little bit. They've addressed the quarterback situation. They got arguably the best cornerback duo in the NFL, certainly the most expensive cornerback duo in the NFL with Xavier Howard and Byron Jones. So they've done a lot of things, and it helps that Brian Flores came from the New England Patriots. They signed a handful of New England Patriots. So those guys know how to win.
We haven't seen a lot of success from Bill Belichick disciples, but it seems like things are going well there for Flores. You mentioned that defense. They're taking the ball away a lot. I mean, they're swarming around. What have you seen on the defensive side of the ball?
It's interesting because they, as you know, they like to do the New England thing. They're gonna do something different every week. Last week it was to throw amoeba looks at rookie quarterback Justin Herbert. A couple of weeks before that, they zero coverage blitzed Jared Goff, and he was a little bit perplexed as to what to do. It was they work a lot at mixing coverages, mixing looks, making quarterbacks think pre-snap and then pressuring them during the play. And it's worked. Look, they give up a lot of yardage. They've given up a lot of yardage. They certainly did against the Rams. They did some against the Chargers this week, but then they certainly did against Arizona. But they're scoring. They've scored defensive touchdowns in 2 of those games. They scored a special teams touchdown in 1 of those games and set up another score in another one of those games. So bend but don't break and always confused. That's what the Dolphins defense is about.
You mentioned how football crazy Miami is, South Florida there. You've covered the team for so long now. Whenever I think Dolphins, Broncos, I think Dan Marino, John Elway, but those two only played each other 3 times, once in the playoffs. It's crazy to think that, huh?
It's crazy. You know, the only memory I have of Marino and Elway is a game that they played in Mexico City. It was a preseason game. And the night before the game, they were at the Hard Rock. Everybody was at the Hard Rock. And everybody's drinking tequila. And I look over and there's Elway and there's Marino and they're drinking tequila at the Hard Rock in Mexico City. And the next day they're playing in front of 106 million people in Mexico City at Estadio Azteca. So yeah, it's been a while. By the way, as you know, John Elway, I do believe he had some success in Miami, and it ushered him, out of his career.
Yeah, his final game down there, Super Bowl 33. Armando, I had one last thing I wanted to ask you about the book that you just wrote, 100 Things Dolphin Fans Should Know or Do Before They Die. What a cool idea for a book. Was that fun to write?
Yes, thanks for mentioning it, Phil.
Yeah.
No,
Cool idea.
It was fun to do. It was a year-long, basically, assignment. It covers, the 50-plus years of the Miami Dolphins, a franchise that was a fledgling franchise in 1966, before you were born, I'm sure. And so it was a work of passion for me, and it covers what you might guess, the perfect season, Don Shula, Dan Marino, Larry Zonka, all the way through to now Tua Tagovailoa.
Cool idea. I'm sure that Dolphins fans are really enjoying that. I love that idea. So, Armando, thank you so much for taking some time to chat today.
My pleasure, Phil.